In recent years, Camtasia has been introducing all kinds of new assets to add a bit of beauty and professionalism to your screencasting projects. The lion's share of these resources are vector-based. Unlike pixel-based raster images, which can get all blocky and pixelated and gross when radically scaled up or down, vector images are collections of shapes. They use geometric math to re-render in perfect quality whenever you scale them. This obviously represents a huge advantage, especially if you, like me, love to animate your content with lots of big, bold zoom effects. Whoosh! But something that isn't always clear to users is the fact that it's possible to create your own vector assets to use in your projects. Now, Camtasia doesn't support the import of common vector formats like EPS, SVG, or the AI format that Adobe Illustrator uses. What they do support is PDF. I'm sure y'all have hundreds of PDF files already on your computer, as it's great for reproducing documents with pixel-perfect accuracy. What a lot of folks don't realize is that it's great for vectorizing images too. So, let's get to it. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to convert a standard vector file to PDF. Here's what you're going to need. First, some kind of vector file. These usually come in AI, EPS, or SVG format. If you don't have ready access to any, note that I've included a link to a site with free SVG icon files in the description down below for you to practice on. You'll also need some sort of vector application. My tool of choice, and the one I'll be using for this tutorial, is Adobe Illustrator. All Adobe products carry a subscription fee. If you already have access to their Creative Cloud service, then you're all set. If you don't use other Adobe products, Illustrator on its own will set you back $20 a month, which, frankly, is a little steep. Another vector tool, which is a one-time payment and which I absolutely love, is Affinity Designer. It costs $55 on Mac or Windows and only $20 on iPad. You'll find links to both these tools below. There are also online converter apps that can take a vector and spit out a PDF, but I don't know, I kind of prefer to have access to an actual editor. For one thing, I might want to move, recolor, or otherwise alter part of my image before I export it. For another, I may only want part of the image. At any rate, I've got an image of a bird up here in Illustrator. We need to take this bird image, minus the background, and set it up for export to PDF. Before I begin, you should note that this is an exaggerated example to show a number of the common pitfalls and how to get around them. For starters, you should have the Asset Export pane up here in Illustrator. If you don't have it, just go to the Window menu and bring it up thusly. So, okay, we drag the artwork right to the pane, right? Oops, wrong. Looks like I only got the outline of his wing. I want the whole thing. So let's select that here in the Asset Export pane and click the trash can icon to get rid of it, and we'll try again. So now I drag a marquee around my whole image to select everything, and now I drag. Nope. I just get all the individual pieces, but they're not assembled into an image. Okay, let's undo that. We want to export this as a single image. Here's what you do. You have two basic options. First, you can right-click your selection, then choose Collect for Export as Single Asset. Alternatively, you can drag again, this time holding down the Alt or Option key. And it approximates what we're after much more closely. There's still one problem though. It's going to export the background, which I don't want. I want only the bird, so that when I bring it into Camtasia, it shows up against whatever background I want for my project at the time. So we'll undo just one more time. One thing I notice up here in my Layers panel is that the background, BG, appears to be on its own layer. If I click here to the right of this eyeball icon, it locks the background layer so that it can be neither edited nor exported. You can see that my selection now only encompasses the bird itself. Now when I Alt-drag the image, it's background free. And here I can rename it if I so choose. At any rate, now that we have exactly what we want, it's time to export it. Here in the export settings, we'll choose PDF as the format. And just for the sake of comparison, why don't we export it as a PNG file as well, at 1x size. So I click the Export button, and Illustrator does its thing. Now, let's bring them into Camtasia. Notice that my exports got grouped into different folders according to their format. Uh-oh, it looks like they're called by the same name here in Camtasia. So which is which? Well, let's find out. We'll drag them both onto the canvas, and our birdies are pretty small. I'll scale them both up. Can you tell which is the PDF file now? That's the beauty of vector shapes. Let's do one more quickie example. Here's a sheet of animal icons. These vector sheets are a great way of building a library of visually consistent assets for a particular project. When I click on these, it's clear that the author has grouped all the lines for the individual animals, which makes things super easy for us. We just lock the background again, select everything, and drag it out to the Asset Export panel. And boom! They're all ready for export. I could rename them or just leave them numbered like this. We'll only export to PDF this time. Here in Camtasia, we could import these into the media bin again, or we could create a new library. We'll call it Animal Icons, and import them into the library instead. That way, these will be available to all your projects from here on out. Of course, with black ink set against a black background, it looks like it was a mistake not to name these. Of course, I can also remedy that here in the Camtasia library. So, there it is. Give us a like or a subscribe if you dig this, and if you want to really ramp up your screencasting, don't forget to get your Camtasia certifications, which are free to all holders of a Camtasia maintenance agreement. Is yours up to date? It's the best deal in screencasting. See you soon.